Welcome to Strictly Business Unscripted. I'm your host, Kiyundra Jones, and I'm here to provide the ultimate networking hub and exclusive peek into the lives of thriving entrepreneurs and business owners. This podcast will educate, ignite inspiration, foster encouragement, and pave the way for growth for our businesses, both small and large, as well as the overall Oak Cliff community. So today is a very, very interesting show, as I will take the opposite seat and no longer be the host of this show. I will be, this show is now being taken over by the lovely and talented Dr. Nikki Caesar Small, as well as Trailblazer Xavier McGilberry. So I'm just turning things over to them, and they are interviewing me. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you for having us. I like how the roles have been turned.
I'm a little nervous.
Well, don't be nervous.
Okay.
I think that you all have done such an amazing job with interviewing board members. And so now I think the people want to hear a little bit about you.
Absolutely. I agree.
You ready?
Are you ready?
I think I'm sweating a little bit, but I think I'm ready. I think I can do it.
Okay. So candid conversations with Kiyundra Jones. So my first question, the people want to know your journey. So if you can start off by sharing a little bit about your journey and what led you to the Oak Cliff Chamber.
So the journey to Oak Cliff Chamber was a very interesting one. So I started, like most teens, I started out at Whataburger.
Really?
When I was 15 years old, flipping burgers. I started out in the fries and worked my way to the back. And then, believe it or not, I did a couple years at the police department in Jacksonville, Texas, and then ultimately became a banker. So I was in mortgage banking for a number of years, went to real estate, and I, of course, was on the East Coast in Jacksonville, Florida, at the time in which the real estate bubble burst. Mm-hmm. In an attempt to get ahead of the real estate bubble bursting, I moved to Texas not knowing that the real estate bubble would burst here. Looking for a new career opportunity, I applied for a job at the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce, having no idea what a Chamber of Commerce did. And so many people have heard from Bob Stimson, my predecessor, that I walked in and said, show me my office, because I'm ready to work. Mm-hmm. I needed a job. I had a little one to take care of, and that's where it began. I needed a job. Mm-hmm. I had no money, and so he put me to work that day. It was May the 15th, 2007.
Wow. She remembers the date.
I know, right?
I do.
That's beautiful. The journey is a wonderful thing, and you articulated it very, very well. But who exactly is Kiyundra Jones?
You know, that's a very interesting question, one that I struggle to answer. Who is Kiyundra? Kiyundra is, at one point, was defined by Kendra Jones, which is my daughter. Mm. You know, we define ourselves as women as mother first.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so I was Kendra's mom for 20 some odd years. That's who I was. And I must admit, as Kendra aged, I struggled with identity because I didn't know who I was. But who is Kiyundra today? Kiyundra is still Kendra's biological mother, but I've graduated. I'm now her advisor. Kendra will be 30 in September, so now I play advisor to Kendra. But Kiyundra Jones is a lover of community, a lover of the arts, a lover of Disney movies. I don't know that y'all knew that about me. I love Disney movies, all of them. Not so much Pixar.
Okay.
But the Disney movies. I'm a lover of people. I'm a lover of community. I'm a lover of the Chamber of Commerce, and overall, probably empath to a fault. I think that's kind of who I am, but I'm still looking for identity after being Kendra's mom. Hadn't quite got there yet.
Understandable.
So, one of the things that you mentioned was that you left Jacksonville and you came here looking for a job. And this job organically became your career.
Yes.
Right? Being a part of the chamber. So tell me why the Oak Cliff Chamber? Because you could have went back to Whataburger.
Yeah, I could. No,
Right?
I could have. I
Right?
could have.
But you chose to stay in this community and work for the chamber. So tell us a little bit about why the Oak Cliff Chamber.
That is okay because I'm a rebel.
Okay.
Because when I moved to Dallas, one of the first things that I heard is you better not go to Oak Cliff. You will die in Oak Cliff. And I said, there's people living in Oak Cliff. They're not dead. So I wanted to make sure that I understood Oak Cliff. And so, of course, I came to Oak Cliff to find a job because the rebel in me did that. And I really wanted to understand the community of Oak Cliff. And so that's why Oak Cliff, because I'm a rebel, I'm a hard-headed. Tell me what I cannot do, and I will prove to you that I can do it. And then after I got to the Chamber of Commerce, I absolutely just fell in love with not only the organization, but the community. There is such an Oak Cliff pride here. And of course, I live here.
Right.
And y'all know I will cut somebody over Oak Cliff. You know it. I will. I will cut somebody over Oak Cliff. So that's the why. I just love it here.
We can tell your passion, right?
Absolutely.
We can tell your passion. And I, too, heard the same thing coming from Louisiana to Dallas. I heard about Oak Cliff, right? We want to be careful about that area. But there's just so many beautiful dynamics in this community, right? And so we appreciate you for wanting to be a part of the community and then also, too, wanting to lead this phenomenal chamber.
Thank you.
Agree.
Thank
Now,
you.
we talked a lot about the journey, kind of who Kiyundra is, and you told us you'll jump on us about Oak Cliff.
I will.
Okay, all of that is work driven. What do you do on your spare time? What do Kiyundra like to do on her spare time?
So believe it or not, I watch a bunch of Disney movies.
What's your favorite?
The Lion King.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Like, how could you even ask me that? Like, The Lion King. But I love all Disney movies, so I watch quite a few of them. Also, I love clothes. So I love to play in clothes. I love mixing and matching and playing with them. I try not to go too far with clothes, my selection of clothes, but I like to play in clothes. I like to play dress up. I like people to come over and let me dress them up. I like to do hair and makeup for women. Well, if a man would sit still, I would do it for him too.
Absolutely not.
Well, Xavier sitting still. Maybe we could do.
Absolutely not.
I like it. That's what I like to do.
Absolutely not.
If he'll let me put some eyelashes on and,
Next question, please.
that's what I like to do.
Okay, great.
And now we'll take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
So, Miss Jones,
Yes,
I have to ask you this. What makes you tick? You mentioned clothes, you like makeup, you like all the things, but what really motivates you to keep on doing what you do every single day for this chamber and then for you professionally?
Great question.
That's a great question.
Thank you. I just thought of that.
That is a wonderful question. Sincerely, I wake up every morning excited. I don't know why. I really just wake up excited about the opportunity to serve. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. With our workforce development program, the very first time we saw that a life was changed when Ms. Frierson ran in the chamber and she was yelling and screaming because she had just gotten approved for a house. And we saw her when she was unemployed, when all the things, that's my expression, when all the things were not going in her favor. And this organization was able to have a hand in things going for her in her favor, able to get her employment and stabilize her situation. And when I get to see that, when we have a hand, when this organization has a hand in just even a little bit of improvement, those are the things that keep me going. Even if it's a staff member and there's something that we could have done to really improve their life, that's what it is. You know, and I'm constantly trying to do different things for our community that haven't been done. So that's what keeps me awake, but keeps me excited also.
Love that. Thank you for that. And I must ask, you know, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about all of the accolades that you've received since being the president of the chamber. And so if you can tell our audience just a little bit about you being the first African American and female, right, to be president of this chamber. I mean, talk to us through that journey.
Oh, goodness. So no one really asks me that. It's been a difficult journey.
Why you say that?
Oh, goodness.
Let's just keep it real. Let's keep it real. What makes this, because this should be a proud moment,
Absolutely.
right? This should be a huge accomplishment for women, for African Americans. And so talk to us a little bit about what made this huge accolade so challenging.
You know, I don't think anybody's journey is easy, right? I think that we all, God gives us all our own customized journey. And I wouldn't dare say that mine was any more difficult or challenging than anyone else's. But this has been a very difficult journey because there was no one at the time that I could go to help me, because this trail had not been blazed before. And so the difficulty in the whole thing was, you know, this organization, as old as it is, had always been headed up by a white male, middle-aged man. And the feedback that I was being given when I took over was the organization does nothing for African American people or Hispanic people or anything other than north of Cliff. And so being an outsider, because I wasn't from the Dallas area, I didn't even know how to change that. I had no idea, and I had no one to ask. And all I was hearing from people that look like me is, y'all don't do nothing for us. I'm not joining the chamber. And there were white people that were skeptical, because at the time I was younger, and they didn't know that I would have their best interest at heart because I didn't look like them. It was hard to get support, and it was hard to get my footing because I didn't know how to do what needed to be done. And so it was just a challenge. And it seemed like I was choosing to confide in the wrong people when I first got started, because I needed a sounding board, and I was going to the wrong places. So it's really been a challenge, just because no one that looks like me has done this before. And so it's been a lot of landmines that I've stepped right into, and so I haven't always done it well, but I'm still standing. So
Yes, you are.
yeah.
That's really good. That's really good. So I got a question that piggybacks off of what Nikki said. So
Okay.
with all that being said, and you said you kind of had to go on that journey alone, you didn't have anyone to go to. I think a lost art now is, when I grew up, we had heroes. And that seemed to be lost. So if you can say, plus you're a Disney person.
I am.
So who, if you could say, anyway, who's your hero and why?
You know, my hero has always been Oprah Winfrey. And she'll probably never know it, but Oprah and I have similar backgrounds in that there was lots of abuse in our families, and she started her career, I believe, as a journalist, and that's, believe it or not, what I wanted to do and be in life. And so I always looked up to her, knowing that if this woman that she didn't look like you were supposed to look being in journalism or being successful or all those things. And I felt like if this dark-skinned woman can do this, then I too can do my thing. Maybe not on the same scale, but she has always been a distant hero of mine.
It's good. It's a great hero to have.
Yeah, yeah,
Great hero to have. Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
So as you think about heroes in your life, and you expressed Oprah, I would love to hear, I think we would all like to hear maybe some of your most proudest accomplishments that you've made. Not necessarily the work with the Oak Cliff Chamber, maybe just personally, because we'll get to the most proudest accomplishment that you've achieved through the chamber. But as an individual, what is the most proudest accomplishment?
You know, my proudest personal accomplishment is creating a human.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
she still be with us, right? Right? I mean, I created a human life, and even though that's not uncommon, I created life that is productive, a productive member of society. And not that I did that alone. You know, I had lots of community help. It took a village, and I had to rely on a village to make that happen. But I'm so proud of the little human that I created. Her name is Kendra, and she'd probably be embarrassed if she ever saw this. But, to be 16 and pregnant and not know how to do life by yourself, to take care of yourself, and then to have human life you're responsible for all on your own. And to do that without assistance, governmental assistance, and to do that and instill some values in her, and that's my why. Kendra is my everything. I just love to listen to her little voice. She can call me and sing the ABCs, and I'm just so happy just to hear her voice. I love my person. She's my everything. That's my person. That's my everything. I created life, and she's still here, and she's productive. She's self-sufficient. She's not on my payroll. Yeah. She's successful, and I think that's the measure, right? If you can say your human is a productive member of society, she's not robbing, stealing, or killing. I did it.
I agree. Yes.
It was done.
Yes.
That's
And you're still doing it. Right.
Thank you.
You're still doing it. And I know that when she sees this, that she's going to be super proud to be able to say, that's my mom.
Yeah. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank
Well,
you.
since we're on Kendra, and we all can tell that she's your pride and joy.
She is.
So, tell us about Miss Kendra. Tell us about her. We know she's your greatest accomplishment, but tell us about Miss Kendra.
Listen, I'm going to tell y'all, once I get started talking about my baby, we're going to be here all day.
No, we don't need that. Give us the Cliff Notes.
So my little person, she works for Bank of America, and she's only been there, I think, 7 years, and she's moved up in the company. She works for the private bank, and she does investments. She's already gotten a VP title.
Wonderful.
In her 20s. She gets 5-figure bonuses. She works hard.
Wonderful.
My daughter, I hope nobody from BofA is watching, but she logs off and she works. She clocks out and she still works because she's so committed to working in excellence and getting her things done. She's a team player, all the things. And she has good relationships with people. She has good friends. That matters to me too, above and beyond the work success, right?
Right.
So she has good friends, solid relationships. And so I'm proud. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like she's not flawed. We all are.
Right.
But yeah, she's good. I don't even have to send her money.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Can you believe that?
Can't.
Well, I've never met her, but I can.
No, I'm just saying I got kids, so I can't.
Really?
But I will say this. I want to say this. I want to say that speaks volumes of who you are. And I think we should just give you a hand for that, because that's just saying, you did that.
Thank
kudos to you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And something that you just mentioned that really resonated with me is that you don't clock out. you talked about Kendra. She clocks out. She's still on. You are on 24/7. You are on for this chamber in this community. And so we want to appreciate you for not clocking out, but also understanding that you need to protect your peace too. And so it's okay to clock out, right? It's okay to clock out and enjoy yourself because the chamber is going to run like a well-run machine, right?
Thank you.
And so
Thank
yeah,
you.
kudos
I
to
appreciate
you.
that.
Absolutely.
I do.
Well, Xavier, do you have any more questions for the one and only Miss Kiyundra Jones?
Probably the last question I want to ask. You showed some really fire, and she said you need to unplug, which I agree. Who gets the credit for that work ethic that you have?
Okay, so my grandmother, my grandmother. So I got the opportunity to see a grandmother that worked hard. So my entire childhood up into and through most of my adulthood, my grandmother maintained 2 full-time jobs.
Wow.
2 full-time jobs. I'm not talking about, 8 hours, 8 hours.
Wow.
Okay, and so my grandmother would, during the day, she would work for different doctors' offices, and she would scrub floors, taking out trash. She was a janitor for a lot of different doctors' offices. And then in our little town in Jacksonville, Texas, she was the first black, back then they were called lab technicians in this hospital. And so she was on her feet 16 hours a day.
Wow.
For as long as I can remember until, unfortunately, she got ill. And it was nothing to go to my grandmother's house on the weekend, and you could go to her house and see her on the roof, patching up like tile on her roof if something was going on. She would be patching on her house. She'd be mowing her own yard. She didn't call a yard man.
Right.
My grandmother did not. She didn't call anybody. She did it herself. It was nothing to see her change her own oil and filter on her car. My grandmother was just, outside of Oprah, that's my hero. And I got to see that up close and personal, how someone worked. She wasn't clocking out. She was going to get the job done, period. And so she still found time for us as her grandchildren, and she found time for the things that mattered. And so my daughter, as well as myself, got the opportunity to see a hardworking woman. And so I saw a woman who had no debt. She said, you do not owe anybody anything. And so she made sure that her home was paid off, her cars, she paid cash for them, everything she paid for with cash. And so we got to see her work for everything she had, and she worked hard. She worked in excellence. She wouldn't leave until something was excellently done. And I'm grateful for that example.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
That took me out. I don't think I have anything after that. It's just,
I know.
I
So
don't
we
know.
see where she gets it from.
yeah, that's amazing.
Thank
That
you.
speaks volumes on who you are and the background and the DNA you have in you. I'm that closed it for me.
Yeah, I'm inspired. And so we
Absolutely.
thank you for carving out time for us to have candid conversations with Kiyundra, but seriously getting to know a little bit about the pioneer and the leader of this amazing Oak Cliff Chamber. So Ms. Jones, on behalf of the Executive Committee for the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce, we thank you for your work
you, thank
ethic,
you, thank
and we
you.
thank you for always being on and supporting our community.
And we're here to support you.
Absolutely.
That means everything. Well, thank you all for spending some time with me. I appreciate it. I always love to do this. Y'all know I need y'all. I call both of y'all crying when I have all the problems. So thank y'all for taking this time out.
Our
Excellent.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that wraps things up. I've been officially interviewed, and Strictly Business Unscripted has been taken over by a couple of our executive committee members. So thank you for tuning in, and until next time, hope you enjoy your day. And this is, again, Kiyundra Jones with Strictly Business Unscripted. Enjoy your day.